Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Bienvenidos nuevamente a otro Jenny Live. Espero de que estén teniendo una noche maravillosa. Bueno, hemos salido unos días a pasear por ahí, ahora les cuento. Así que por eso no hemos hecho Jenny Live. Si no vieron el último, para avisarles, ya resumimos con los programas, por lo menos hasta fin de octubre. Así que acá me van a tener un buen mesecito derecho. Estamos en miércoles, agosto 30 del 2023, son las 8:08 p.m. Estamos saliendo desde en vivo e indirecto desde Tulum, las selvas de Tulum, donde me dice un pajarito que ya en diciembre va a estar abierto el aeropuerto, no lo puedo creer. Supuestamente el aeropuerto de Tulum abre en diciembre y una parte del tren Maya. Wow, eso va a traer un cambio sideral, yo creo, a la ciudad de Tulum bueno, ya no es pueblo, sí, a la ciudad de Tulum y a todos los pueblos alrededor. Justamente hoy hablando con gente diciendo que todos los pueblitos pequeños van a terminar siendo turísticos. Así que bueno, habrá que visitar, ¿no? All right, guys, welcome everybody. Hope you're having an amazing evening. Join us on Miami TV. We are live with Jenny Live. If you guys are wondering where I've been, we've been traveling. I'll tell you all about it in a bit, and then we'll start with our topics. So that's why we haven't had a Jenny Live, if you didn't see last one. Now, today is 8:09 p.m., August 30, Wednesday, August 30, 8:09 p.m., and we are live as we speak. So come and join us. Let me make sure I can see us live so I can read you guys. We are live on Facebook, Miami TV, and YouTube. So that's 3 places where you can watch us. I find out that to watch any live, YouTube is better because of like the difference in variable bit rates and all that crazy tech stuff. So, but wherever you're comfortable. So the airport of Tulum is going to be open in December. Apparently, it's launching. I am super excited. This makes it so much easier to be able to travel because if there's one thing that I hate is the 2-hour drive and the traffic to Cancun to the airport. And I think everybody that lives in Tulum thinks the same thing. So yeah, that's going to bring a lot of traffic, a lot of people, more tourism. There's I don't know how many millions of people come into Quintana Roo every year, so it's just going to duplicate. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. I have so many mixed feelings about it. You know, I feel like yes, the community needs tourism to live, and a lot of people, live out of it. But at the same time, I do feel like there's this exaggeration being made towards because so many people come that things are just getting a little bit too crazy in prices. Even like Miami sometimes isn't as expensive as Tulum. It's like, where are we again? This is Mexico. So yeah, just keep that in mind if you come to Tulum. I've had family come the past couple of months, and they were a little shocked. But it is a growing city, so of course the opening of the airport and the train in December is going to be a big difference, also impacting the cities around us, where I was talking to somebody today from one of the towns, and it's like you have so many towns that are small and somewhat poor that all of a sudden they're getting in the groove of this whole tourism vibe. And yeah, the train definitely uniting people all around Mexico. I believe the first phase that's going to open in December, it's only from Cancun to Tulum though. So yeah, but yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great, especially for Mexicans, so they can get around easier and not have to be going in those really, really badly maintained buses that break down every now and then. So, oh, there I am. Hello. Wait, this one's too closed. This one's too opened. So we visited Queretaro, Mexico, and wow, I'm in love with the people from there. Everybody was just so polite. We visited the poorest municipality of Mexico. That was a tongue twister word, and not on purpose. Like I found out it was the poorest municipality in Mexico when we got there because to get there alone. Well, let me start from the beginning. Let me go in Spanish and then we'll go in English. En Tulum están todos en bolas, así es, aquí estamos todos en bolas. Hi Costas, I am. Deberías hacer videos exclusivos en español y después otros en inglés. Bueno, pues mira, llevamos más de 1300 programas haciéndolo de esta forma, o sea, de que si te molesta probablemente no es el programa que quieras mirar, porque acá hacemos inglés y después hacemos español y así viceversa. Y mucha gente ha aprendido el otro lenguaje gracias a nosotros. Happy to have you back. Hey Trent, thank you. Good to see you again. Looking good as ever. Thank you. Hello Brazil. Hi Luis. Saludos Brasil. Saludos a nuestros miembros de Miami TV, el cual ya tenemos ahí una cosita que estamos arreglando, sean los pacientes, es por parte de Kling. Welcome to our members of Miami TV. Hey Joe, Jim, Robert, what's up guys? Chris. We have all chats open, so you guys come say hello. Ok, muy bien, entonces empezamos. Saludos desde Ecuador, boxeo, hola. Hola, Bilal, ¿cómo estás? Anthony, Mo, welcome guys, Pascal. Empezamos entonces nuestro viaje, fuimos a visitar las grutas de Tolantongo en Querétaro. Bueno, las grutas están en Hidalgo, está Querétaro Hidalgo y después Querétaro Ciudad. Y Enrique quiere que les cuente desde el principio para tirarle la realidad a lo que es la compañía de Volaris. Nos tuvo 3 horas sentados en el avión esperando, fue terrible. Primero que el piloto se enfermó, luego a las 2 horas que está en camino, luego a las 2 y pico, no, que viene otro a reemplazarlo porque él ya no puede venir porque se enfermó. Y resulta que luego había mucho tráfico, así que 3 horas sentaditos ahí en los asientos. El viaje de 2 horas se hizo de 5. Pero lo bueno es que cuando llegamos, yo le dije, por algo es, Enrique, por algo es. Cuando llegamos a nuestro lugar de donde empezaba toda nuestra aventura, nos dieron un buen upgrade por un superauto. Así que nos dijeron, acaba de llegar. Si hubieran venido en la mañana, no hubieran tenido ese upgrade porque todos eran pequeños. Y nosotros, sí. Así que bueno, rentamos un superauto y tuvimos todo un road trip como hacíamos antes en las costas de España. Del Mediterráneo, y lo hicimos a través de las costas hermosas la Sierra Gorda de Guadalajara, perdón, de Querétaro. La verdad, algo hermoso. Acá en Tulum no se ven muchas sierras. La única lomita es la pirámide, por lo cual es bonito de vez en cuando cambiar de vista, cambiar de paisaje y ver algo pues un poquito fuera de lo normal para uno en la vida cotidiana. Así que bueno, fue divertido. Nos encontramos después tomando un camino muy estrecho y pequeño, sin vuelta atrás, literal, porque no podías dar vuelta de nube ni nada, porque era en el borde de una montaña directamente, hacer toda la sierra para llegar 2 horas después al final del camino. A mitad de camino nos agarró la noche, yo venía manejando. Me empezó a agarrar un poquito, ¿viste? La meditación ahí se te va a la mierda. O sea, me empezó a agarrar un poquito de estrés porque yo era la que había elegido el viaje y no sabía si realmente íbamos a llegar a un lugar. No había ni un auto. Quizás de vez en cuando por ahí vimos un auto como por allá abajo en la sierra, otro subiendo, pero luego era la oscuridad total, lo grabamos obviamente, la oscuridad total donde el auto, si te moves mal un poquito, te vas por la barranca directamente. Y yo con 2 personas encima, ¿no? Que era mi responsabilidad, o sea, de que el manejar así estresado, uno va solo, bueno, tenés cuidado, por supuesto, pero no tenés tanto estrés, pero si ya estás manejando y vas acompañado y sos responsable por la vida de los demás, es como que... Así que bueno, me chorreaba ahí la gota gorda y hasta que llegamos, en fin, Defensa y Justicia. ¿Qué es eso? Llegamos por fin al fin del todo, donde literalmente salí del auto y besé en la tierra. Porque habíamos llegado al lugar que sí, efectivamente era lo que yo había visto en las fotos, se llama Bucareli Extreme. Bucareli, si lo buscan en internet, es el municipio más pobre de México. Esto no lo sabíamos, nos enteramos en el momento que llegamos. Y cuando, bueno, tuve la oportunidad de entrevistar al dueño del camping, un lugar hermoso, al frente de unas montañas, abajo de todo, en el medio de 2 cordilleras, básicamente, donde se veía una luna llena espectacular, algunos platos voladores. Hablamos de estos temas con la gente de ahí, sí, que efectivamente han visto, especialmente en las sierras esas donde no hay mucha gente, es algo normal que se vean más avistamientos que otros lugares. No sé por qué, es como que eligen esos lugares. Y lo más extraño de todo es que, bueno, ese lugar es un lugar para gente que le gusta hacer ecoturismo, ¿no? Deportes extremos. Entonces nos mandamos 8 tirolesas a 1500 pies de altura más o menos. Muy divertido, unos con ropa, otros sin ropa, otros topless. 8 tirolesas es un montón, subir las montañas también es bastante. Y hay gente que se tomaba las 24 horas para escalar directamente, era increíble. Nunca esperarías que... lo más chistoso es que cuando estábamos llegando, que no llegábamos, que no sabía cuánto nos faltaba, por más de que el GPS dijera que ya estábamos llegando, la media hora se hacía eterna. Por las curvas, ¿no? O sea, media hora recto es una cosa, pero media hora de lo que piensa que vas a tardar sin saber de que es un camino estrecho y con piedra, termina siendo una hora más. Entonces, de repente escuchamos un sonidito. Tin, 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 y resulta que era un heladero, pueden creer. No había nadie en la colina, o sea, habían 3 pueblitos de camino, muchos más, pero digo, muy separados. Y de repente un heladero de la nada, dijimos, ya está, acá se vuelve la realidad del Chainsaw Massacre, donde el tipo va a sacar la motosierra y acá morimos todos. Así que fue toda una aventura muy bien. Mis copilotos, Enrique y Miguel, se portaron muy bien porque estaban animando. Enrique por ahí tiraba alguna de que íbamos a morir, pero bueno, obviamente ahí la hiperventilación empezaba mucho más fuerte de lo normal. Pero llegamos. Así que bueno, búsquenlo después si tienen tiempo, Bucareli Extremo o Bucareli en general y van a ver hasta dónde manejé con el auto. Una cosa de loco. Ya me hago pro en la manejada, chicos. Aventuras de Egipto, ¿sí? Oh, thank you, Mo. A number one fan, you got a badge. Yay. Ahora les cuento las aventuras de Egipto. Déjenme terminar con las de Querétaro, porque son las más recientes. Em, Nos contaron de que ahí se han visto, bueno, primero que hay muchas cuevas, se han visto como bolas de fuego que de repente iluminaron todo el bosque. Y arriba de ese camping hay un pueblo que se llama Bucareli, donde existe un monasterio de monjes. Esto fue como que lo que yo creo que nos llevó ahí. O sea, por algo eligieron ese lugar, un lugar muy alejado de todo. Un lugar muy pacífico, donde no había ruido, muy pocos pueblos, estaban muy separados, fresco, lindo clima, pero bueno, creo que lo más importante que buscan siempre los meditadores es la paz mental, ¿no? Donde no mucha gente pueda llegar a molestarlos. ¿Cómo era que le llamaban, Enrique, en español? Frailes, ahí está, un convento, un ex convento de frailes. Te juro que hasta se me puso la piel de gallina cuando entramos al lugar porque viendo la historia de todos y cómo los entrenaban, cómo estaban ahí, cómo fueron abriendo otros conventos en otros lados, pero escuchando las historias, por ejemplo, donde estaba la capilla y los exorcismos, para mí fue como que nada del otro mundo, pero sí, yo soy re fanática de esos temas, ya lo saben, porque los vivo y son cosas que hago. Entonces, la energía para mí es la vida, ¿no? Todo lo que tenga que ver con energía, pues es mi número uno tema. Vamos en inglés un segundo y continuamos. Buenas noches y saludos desde Veracruz. A ver, ¿cuándo visitas el puerto de Veracruz? Claro que sí. Hola, mi hermosa, buenas noches. Hello, hey Tarcisio. Wow, qué aventura más excitante. Pues réntense una 4x4 si lo hacen. Si tienen una moto, mucho mejor. Creo que yo no manejo en moto, siempre me ha gustado siempre he querido tener una moto, pero no sé, como nunca realmente me he animado. Tengo un primo que se accidentó muy mal en una, casi murió. Así que bueno, le tengo mi respeto, pero creo que ese tipo de viajes en montañas donde no hay nada alrededor son para disfrutar más en una moto. O una 4x4. Nosotros teníamos una camioneta, pero era 2x4, entonces claro, el subir nada más era como que, ok, no vayas ni muy rápido ni muy lento, o sea, porque o uno ve el otro y ahí me sentía como una viejita yo manejando. Love you. Thanks, guys. Welcome. Love watching your shows. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Tell us about your adventures in Queretaro. That's where I was going. What an exciting adventure. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, Vernu, I would, but you know, it's YouTube, so. Our flight was delayed 3 hours. That was insane. If you guys ever fly Volaris, it was horrible. It was like we were all in the plane, right? And all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, so the pilot's not coming. Oh, so we're all kind of like, what? And like, yeah, apparently he's sick. Oh, so he just realized he's sick, like right now, right? So that was an hour and a half, and then we're waiting for a replacement. The replacement won't get here because there's a truck that just exploded at the corner of the at the corner of the airport. Great, we saw it in flames. It was horrible, but nobody died, so it's okay. It was more like for show. And then we waited 3 hours after finally getting up in the air and reaching our final destination of Querétaro. It was kind of like this spontaneous trip where we didn't really know where we were going. I had Googled some places, but normally I'll do like a really straight up, like all detailed where we're going and reserve everything. This one was just like, let's see where life takes us kind of thing. So we finally take flight 3 hours later. Thank you, Volaris. The stewardess said, you guys are all getting 3,000 pesos in credit. And all of a sudden, when we get the email, it was $250, which is like $150 versus like $10. So that was bullshit. Don't do that. Algo que sí le tenemos que tirar mal a Volaris también es que la azafata dijo, todos en el avión por las 3 horas de retraso van a tener 3.000 pesos en crédito. Y cuando recibimos el email, obviamente después de bajar del avión, para no, creo que la gente golpea a los azafatos, que no tienen nada que ver, pobrecitos, todo el mundo recibió 200 pesos. O sea, de que gran diferencia, ¿no creen? Pero bueno, fue todo sea por el upgrade del auto, ¿eh? So when we got to our place, good thing is that, okay, well, the plane was delayed, but we did get a really cool upgrade in our car, so that was fun. They're like, yeah, if you guys would have come earlier, hold on. If you're gonna come early, hold on. Sorry. Then there was no cars here. There was just like small cars, and we didn't have your SUV. So now, 2 hours later, their SUV is here. So yay! So we started our trip. Ended up in the city of Querétaro. Amazing, like 70s, 60s hotel where you can kind of like smell, the rotten wood. No, I'm kidding. No, you could smell like the old in it, but it was very nicely boutiqued, 5-star, converted into a 5-star hotel. So that was Mexico has so many places that it's like you're traveling to Europe, right? Because the Spanish, of course, conquer. I mean, where in the world have the Spanish not been? I don't know. So you have all that beautiful architecture. Definitely nothing like Tulum. Tulum, when you go to other places of Mexico, you realize that you're living in the least Mexican place of Mexico, and that's Tulum or Cancun. But no, reaching other parts of Mexico, people are so much more nicer. You're not just like a number. Here, everything's tourist, and see how you can scam the tourism, basically. We ended up visiting spontaneously like the poorest municipality of Mexico, which is called Bucareli. And it was this crazy drive. It was an hour normal, and then it was 2.5 hours of pure, like on the edge border or falling off a cliff tour. So I had the luck of driving, and it's different when you're driving alone because it's just you, right? So if you die, you die, whatever. I'm not afraid of death. I know exactly where I'm going, so it's no problem. But I had Enrique and our camera guy Miguel with us, and it was my responsibility for them to make it safe. Plus, I had made the trip, so I'm like, we're going to this place to do some crazy, like, zip lining at like 1,500 meters high, and the pictures look really nice cabins and stuff, but there's no like sign that the extreme part of the park starts when you start driving there. So you could imagine that when you don't really know where you're going and you haven't really looked at a map, all I saw on the map was this. Because those are the turns that you would do in the hill. So at one point, the road was no longer pavement; it was dirt. So it became more dangerous. And then the sun started coming down. So then we started kind of freaking out, because, yeah. And then out of nowhere, there was no cars. Maybe we passed 1 or 2 cars on the way up or down. Down the hill, you would see a light like in the movies. And all of a sudden, we hear these ding, 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 and it turns out it's the damn ice cream man. I'm like, all right, that's it. This is when we're gonna get chainsaw massacred. This dude was following us for like half the road. It was really creepy. And surprisingly enough, the small towns there, yes, the ice cream man is very dedicated to bringing ice cream to those kids at 8 o'clock at night. So it was completely normal, apparently. We would pass towns that were like of 12 houses, 30 houses, right? 20 houses, very, very tiny towns where there's no shops, there's nothing. It's just if you want to buy gas, you got to buy it in the little, tanks. So it was all an adventure that we were not expecting, but I think it came out great in the end. When we got there, I kissed the floor. I jumped out of the car and kissed the dirt. I said, thank God we arrived. And there was people there, and they all looked at us like we were crazy, like, oh, these damn city people. Because for them, it's totally normal. They go up and down those hills every day. 2-hour drive. So, but for us, obviously, we didn't know where we were going. All I had seen is some pictures, so we were a little bit concerned. But when we got there, definitely, if you like ecotourism, you guys, wow, amazing. I mean, It was really nice cabins, like lodges. You were right in the middle of two mountains. So you had the view of a mountain, the full moon, the lights, a bunch of UFO sightings. We got stories from the people that live there that, yeah, they've seen like huge orbs of fire that illuminated all the forest. They seen light bulbs, like of lightning, and really, really bright lights all of a sudden on the other side of the hills where nobody lives. So, and the only way to get there, the reason why this is the poorest municipality of Mexico is because the only way of getting there is through that road. So it's really difficult for them to get material. And the owner of that place, he started from scratch, from working really, really small jobs, and he just started saving, saving, saving. And they have manantial water. I don't know if that's how you say it. I'm sorry. Basically, like water from the hill. And I'm like, listen, you may be called the poorest municipality in Mexico, but you're rich in so many levels. Anything that they plant there grows. They have animals, they have a running river, they have potable water. That's priceless. Of course, it's difficult to get there, so it's kind of like abandoned in a way, like these towns. And the people had really great, like a really great education. They said we only have up to second grade of level of school here because there's so few families. The families are like about 15 houses, 20 houses. Sorry, guys. So that's why basically the governments don't really pay attention to helping these communities out too much. But it seems like they do like homeschooling and their own education. And wow, well, you're gonna see it in the interview. The owner of everything that I interviewed was very well educated and knew a lot about a lot. And I was like, oh, and then this little tiny corner of the world. They're like, yeah. So yeah, definitely. If you like ecotourism, check out Bucareli Extreme. I love supporting, companies or. Businesses that are family owned, especially if they build them up from scratch. Same thing with our next location. I'll tell you in a bit. Hi, Diego. Did I get divorced? No. Enrique was in the car with me in this whole adventure. You forgot to button your shirt. Darn it. I'm sorry, friend. Forgot to button my shirt. How could I? Stand up. Unfortunately, I cannot stand up today because if I stand up, this shirt is really short, and I'm going to go against YouTube's rules. So if you want to see me standing up, go to Miami TV later. We have our shows for our members every day. Thank you. ¿Cómo están? Oh, thank you, T. Tarcisio, gracias. Bienvenido. ¿Cómo estás? Did you get to see any exotic animals out there? I did not. The most exotic animal I saw was a fox, and I see those all the time here in the jungle, so it's not as exciting anymore. That's me. You can't believe it. Sorry, it is what it is, But you know what? He has more life than any of you, probably, so it's okay. Entonces, bueno, de ahí nos fuimos a lo que es las grutas de Tolantongo. ¡Wow! ¡Qué lugar maravilloso, espectacular, escondido del mundo! Un lugar turístico plenamente local, mexicano, solamente mexicanos, lo cual me parece bien, por eso como que me da un poco de pena, no sé si voy a publicar el video sobre el lugar porque digo, una vez que realmente llegue como que todo el turismo, aunque ellos dicen que le van japoneses y europeos y qué sé yo, no son tantos como los que vienen acá a Tulum. Entonces, vamos a ser honestos que el turismo arruina los lugares en muchas áreas cuando se empieza a desbordar, entonces, y empiezan a subir los precios. Ya no sería, Iván, ¿me escribiste? No leí, perdón. No, chicos, si no les leo, vuelvan a escribir, si es importante, obvio. Hola, Panamá, ¿cómo estás? Grutas de Tolantongo, ahí realmente como que logras ver lo hermoso de la naturaleza, unas cascadas, una altitud, unas piletas que, bueno, aunque fueron hechas, las piletas de las grutas fueron hechas por el ser humano, pero estas familias que hicieron todo este parque, lo hicieron también desde cero, nos contaron la historia de cómo traían los bloques de material y las piedras y el cemento a mano y todo lo fueron haciendo muy de a poquito en los últimos 20 años. La verdad, para sacarse del sombrero, era un lugar tipo Disney, pero natural, súper limpio, súper pulcro, repleto. fuimos justo en épocas de vacaciones. Pero bueno, ya como saben, nosotros hacemos fotos al desnudo, así que siempre que vamos a un lugar, thanks Ultimate, pues siempre preguntamos, ¿no? ¿Podemos hacer fotos desnudos cuando no hay gente bien temprano en la mañana? Sí, claro, vengan, ok, súper. Así que ahí tenemos las fotos que estarán siendo publicadas en OnlyFans. Pero también recomendado, aunque no quiero que haya mucho turismo, pero recomendado igual. Obviamente a ellos les beneficia porque cuanto más gente va, más van expandiendo el parque y más van pues descubriendo las fosas que tienen ahí. Hay un lugar que es abajo de la cascada, que hay una cueva donde es el nacimiento directamente del agua. Agua termal caliente, te quemás. Increíble, increíble, increíble. Agua dulce encima, mucho calcio, pero dulce. Y bueno, ahí la gente pasa el día, es como estar en un jacuzzi natural, ¿no? Muy relajado, una energía increíble. Yo creo que estos lugares, ahora voy con la historia de los monjes, yo creo que estos lugares son muy estratégicos, especialmente porque no están contaminados quizás por tanta población o por tanta gente o por tanto financierismo, podríamos decir, porque en este momento son lugares muy locales, entonces hasta los precios se mantienen muy accesibles para todo el mundo. Entonces, no tenés lo que pasa en Tulum, que es que no, o sea, a ver, los lugares naturales deberían ser accesibles para todos sin poner cada vez más caro para que el mexicano no pueda ir, que es lo que hacen en Tulum. No, al contrario, si es para todos, pues nada más quizás poner un reglamento de tanta cantidad de personas, porque después no entran más en el río y listo. Pero sí, estaba muy bien, la verdad, felicité mucho a esa familia porque un grupo de familias ejidal que ha trabajado mucho. Y se merecen crecer. Por eso, bueno, le hicimos la nota. Está muy buena y después la pondremos en YouTube. I follow you on OnlyFans. Awesome. So we're going to be putting some of the OnlyFans pictures from the Gruta of Talantongo. Actually, I think they're already being posted. So yeah, check those out. Because, of course, everywhere we go, we always ask, can we do naked pictures here? And it'll always be really early in the morning, like 6 a.m. when the park doesn't open. And yeah, everybody always says yes. So yay. We got some really nice shots. And yeah, it was even in the zip line, I was able to naked zip line. And then I'm like, darn it, I should have applied for some like World Guinness or something, you know? Naked zip line in the poorest municipality of Mexico where nobody goes. But you should, because wow, if you like ziplining and walking on really, really high bridges, and I was also surprised on how the quality of the zip lines, it was like you felt just so safe. They maintain everything 4 times a year. If they see anything that's being rusted, they change it right away. So, hey, yeah. What do we eat? Okay, so here's the thing. So when I travel with Enrique, he's very high maintenance, believe it or not. So it's the opposite. Like I'm not high maintenance and he's high maintenance. Well, I guess we could say we're high maintenance in different things. For him, it's the hotels and the food. So it's always, okay, if I'm going to go with you, then it has to be the best hotel. It has to be the best restaurant. And so I'll have to like look for places. So I can't really say we ate in like, you know, Mexican places, which I would have loved. I also have a very sensitive stomach, so I didn't mind following Enrique for the restaurant. But then when I travel alone, just with our camera guy and friend Miguel, no, we like going to like, you know, the most Mexican places as possible. And yeah, it's part of the adventure. You know, it's getting out of that bubble and just seeing how other people live. But it was nice. It was nice. So what did we eat? We ate all sorts of things. Ok, a ver, ¿qué más les puedo contar? Fuimos a las grutas de Tolantongo, un lugar hermosísimo, un lugar creo que escondido de la sociedad, pero que vale la pena visitar. Ahora, no, ya me mareé. Expliqué lo de las grutas, ¿en inglés o en español? A ver si acá me estaban escuchando. En español expliqué. Okay, so then we went to the Gruta of Tolantongo. Gracias, a veces me mareo. Es bueno la práctica de uno al otro. And wow, what an amazing place, honestly. These waterfalls with thermal waters. original, right? Like this is where the water comes from the mountain, and apparently it goes through some kind of vein of a volcano. They haven't really figured out why it's hot 100% yet because there haven't been enough divers to do the test. But really a place that you say you need to visit. At least I don't know why it's not one of those wonders of the world. It was just unbelievable, really, really high. It was also made by locals, so the family that built it, they started really little when there was nothing there, and they made the streets by hand, you guys. Like, what? Like, and you would see the workers, and they would still be making the streets by hand, and then it's like, oh my God, it's like that's what it was really like, right? And they continue to do it. That's their way of life. The park is so well maintained, so pristine, in a level that you feel like you're in the U.S. You feel like you're in Disney, except of course the measurements of safety are not all there. But they recommend you now if you fall and die, it's your fault. But yeah, the adventures are, yeah, we've done some videos, so of course we'll show you. So they had like these really, really big cave underneath the waterfall. I keep wanting to call it a cascade. And the moment you go in, it's like these huge cenote, right? And it has like almost about like a half a meter of a hole. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a hole that comes from the top of the mountain. And the water that comes out of there is really heavy. Like it almost hurts your back if you're standing underneath it. That's how strong the river was. It's super hot. You know, you're in thermal water. It's amazing. It's like, how does this even exist? And I'm sure, yeah, there's a lot of thermal places in the world, but this one, you know, hitting in this place of Queretaro was just wow. Not too many tourists there, so a lot of local people. They say they have tourists, but we only saw like another American couple there, and they're like, "Oh, you speak English?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, so they came to talk. They were so cool. They're like, "Yeah." Every time we cross by like Mexicans, I feel like they go on the radio and they say "gringos, gringos," you know. Because we were at a place kind of thing. But I don't care. It was amazing. I really hope they continue to grow. One of those places that I also recommend if you like thermal waters and to just have like a chill time, it's a place to visit. Then we heard some crazy stories. Well, not crazy, I guess normal for public places, from the security guards when we asked to do the naked shoot. You know, we shot at like 6 in the morning. They're like, "Oh no, yeah, you know, nudity, it's okay, and even when there's people. But if somebody complains, then we have to let the person know slowly." And they're like, "Yeah, one time there's this Venezuelan girl that came here to do some pictures." And ahora voy, Darío, gracias. And they were wearing like a really skimpy bikini, and the back of it was just a string. And I'm like, "Oh, like mine?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, right." So he didn't end up telling me the story. But it turned out it was no problem. Everybody was fine. Anyway, so the shoot was early, but you guys will get to see that on OnlyFans. The pictures will be there, and Miami TV as well, of course. And yeah, that was, I always get amazed by places of Mexico that we visited where it's like, wow, you feel like you're visiting Europe in some sense, but you have such richness right next to us. Well, even the U.S. has such richness. I mean, there's so many beautiful places to visit. And like I said before, these two towns, right? There's a spider on the floor. These two towns were both very humble, right? Humble towns where people were farmers. But very kind, very nice, very hospitable, educated. So, sí, me chorrea un poquito la nariz, perdón. Pero no, estoy bien. Si no puedo respirar, les aviso. Además, tengo calor. ¿Podemos poner el aire? Porque estoy transpirando todo acá. Me dice, ¿se presta un pañuelo? Y yo, sí, pásame un pañuelo. Creo que es por el calor que me está transpirando la nariz. Entonces, no sé si ahora se estaba en inglés o en español. So yeah, it was great. It was great. So where else did we go? We went to the Pena Bernal, which is like this, I don't know how you say it in English, I guess. Peña de Bernal, that's what you call it. But it used to be a volcano, and when the magma basically like ended up taking over everything, it dried up on top of the volcano, and throughout the years, and then it ended up kind of like making the volcano disappear. So So it's something that, gracias, Avin. A ver, permiso. No, ¿saben también lo que pasa a veces? El polvo que uno se echa para maquillar cuando te haces así, y a veces se mete en la nariz. No, chicos, no hago nada de nariz, no se preocupen. Siempre bromeamos con, de hecho, cuando estábamos volviendo, Enrique me dice, tenía una bolsita de bicarbonato y me dice, ¿qué tal si la llevo en la maleta y piensan que es cocaína? Y de repente salgo así, ¿no? Por el avión. Digo, bueno, vos anda por aquel lado, hacé tu bromita tranquilo, yo me voy por el otro. Ok, nos vemos en Miami, en Cancún. Um, so I have an OnlyFans account. Just look for my name. It's Jenny Scotomaglia. Yeah. We also have an Unlock one for all the sexual energy content. That's in unlock.me /energy Jenny. Tú eres hermosa, gracias Iván. Por esto la historia del periodo colonial de México y Perú es más rica e interesante. Sí, o sea, obviamente México tiene muchos lugares para visitar, pero Perú me encantaría, lo tengo en la mente, uno de nuestros mejores amigos es peruano, y siempre decimos, vamos a ir contigo a Perú, porque es mejor ir con alguien del lugar que te sepa mostrar los lugares, ¿no? Así que bueno, prontamente. El virreinato de la Nueva España junto con el virreinato del Perú fueron los dos más importantes virreinatos del periodo español en América. ¿Podemos ver estas aventuras en video? Sí, claro que sí, los estaremos poniendo también para que lo puedan ver. Let me go to our Miami TV chat. Sorry, although I know you guys don't really talk about this stuff. Let me see. Okay, what happened afterwards? So there was this ex-convent. I hope I'm saying it right in English, in the Bucareli place, right? Thank you, David. Welcome. Oh, I got these beautiful earrings there, as you can see. They had really nice jewelry, by the way. Oh, it's a place of stones, right? So Queretaro, basically any kind of stones that you want, having to do with amethyst, any stone you could think of that you can get at like a store for really, really like thousands of dollars. There you can get for really great prices. So yeah, if you're a fan of stones or crystals, it's a place you might want to visit, and I'm sure they'll ship it to you. So that's hilarious. Who would ever expect an ice cream man to show up behind you? Yeah, no, it was really creepy. I think Miguel recorded it because he's like, this is not normal, Jenny. And I'm like, there's nobody around but the damn ice cream man and the sound at 8 at night when it was all pitch black outside. It was like a movie. Yeah, the schooling was sad, but it's normal, because governments don't really pay that much attention to putting schools or even patrols or police stations in poor places. I know because the place where we grew up in Uruguay, where my farm is, used to be that until my mom and dad actually brought together the government and just insisted so much into building a school for properly and to build in a place of doctors and police, So it took some time, but they were able to do it. So today the town is bigger and there's more advanced on it. At least there's a doctor in town, right? But yeah, it was interesting. So where else did we go? Okay, I'm trying to think we did the Gruta del Tongo, we did okay, so the ex-convent. So the ex-convent on the top, we recorded that. Of course, it's in Spanish, but I'll have to translate it. It's going to take some time. And the stories that they would tell us, right, where this is where they used to train. In Spanish, it's called frailes. Frailes is basically like a monk, okay? So they created this monastery for them in one of the top of the hills where the town was, where we did like the camping out and the zip lining. 5 minutes up where the town was, there was this monastery with a beautiful view to the mountains, basically at the end of the road. And you say, there's a reason why they picked this place, right? There's a reason why usually monks or meditators go to really, really far away places so people don't get to them. They're not very open to strangers or to outsiders. So it took them some time to build that monastery, but they ended up doing like 6 more around Mexico. And oh my God, the books that you could see there, those were from like the 1600s. They were untouched. Nobody could touch them. And I'm like, how are you not seeing what's written in the book? Like, why is this not being documented? It was kind of annoying at the same time. They're like, oh, we don't want to touch them because because of the humidity. If we move them, they might just like break and poof, it's gone. Who knows? But I'm sure if experts actually got there, I'm sure there's experts of these things that would like to study these books because one of them that was put on glass, they said this book only talks about love, all different types of love. And it got me thinking, of course the monks know about sexual energy. Duh, it's the chi. So it was really interesting. We got to a place where the chapel was, and they were saying how the monks ended up doing like this exorcism to the town because at the end of the town where the river was, there was this demon that would kill people and that would make the town basically go through disastrous moments. All that it would bring was disaster to the town and suffering. So the monks actually, came together. They did a ritual, and they did some kind of, not some kind of, sorry, they did a statue of Michelangelo, I think it's in English, stepping on the demon, right, with a sword. And just like they did the statue, today is intact. It's insane, and it's made of mud and it's painted, of course. And I'm like, the paint doesn't go away? They're like, nope. It was insane. So they said when the monks did the exorcism, and they used to do a lot of exorcisms in this room, and we're like, oh, we're like, yeah, we believe in that. No need to show us. They said when they got this demon out of the river, everything stopped in the town and things started going better. So the people of the town were happy. But the monks said, never let go of the rope that holds Michelangelo's hand with a rope towards the neck of the demon, because their demon will escape again. Even though the rope isn't physically holding it, it's a metaphorical kind of thing. And so a tourist came by, obviously decades later, and the town still believes in that. And the tourist came by and said, ahora voy en español, amigo. Saludos, Greece. How are you? He said, well, I don't believe in this crap. And he grabbed the chain and he broke the rope. Months later, or weeks later, he came back saying that he couldn't sleep, that ever since he got out of that convent, he was having nightmares, and that confronted him. I'm sure it wasn't a demon, and said, you need to take me back to where I was and make things right. Obviously, I think that's more like on the angel side. I think the demon would never tell him to bring him back. So he was happy to be, and when that happened, things started going wrong in the town, and 3 people died. So he went back and he tied the rope again. And the same thing happened years after. Somebody didn't believe in it, cut the rope, and he said, well, if I can't sleep at night, I'm going to sleep during the day. And the guy couldn't sleep during the day either, and he was going crazy. So he went back and he made sure he tied the rope twice around the arm of the statue. And he said, well, both times people died in the town when the rope was untied. And yeah, for them, it's as clear as water. It of course it's real. And yeah, I mean, you can never judge. Yeah, demons are real. These things are real. So I'm like, I don't know if just tying the knot will just bring the spell back. I think you need to do a whole new exorcism. But apparently when they tied it back, everything was back to normal. So it's okay. So now, to prevent future problems, what they did was they put the statue inside a glass containment. That way no idiot tourist can reach the rope. In the end, so as soon as we got out of this place, Miguel shows me his arm, and he has this like bumps in his arm. He's like, I think I grabbed something. Like, I don't know, like, keep it away from me. And it was like lumps in his arm. And sometimes, when you're susceptible to energies, yes, and these places have both good and bad energy, especially if they did exorcisms there, and you can bring it with you. So we did have some weird kind of dreams in the next couple of days. Not bad though. He said he dreamt of cockroaches at one point, like he was cleansing an area of the convent and cockroaches came out, and it was a sign of like rejuvenation. And I had the weirdest, like, it almost felt like a trip today in the morning where I was awake. It was 6 in the morning, my alarm went off. So I did like the REM sleep, right, where you're half awake, half asleep. And I hear Enrique come in the room. And I'm hearing him that he doesn't want to wake me, but I know he's there, but I don't want to open my eyes. And at the same time, it's like I'm somewhere else. Like I'm all of a sudden in a field with a lot of grass. And there must have been like at least 300 monks there. And I was with 2 other people, which I don't remember who they were, and they call me over right? And it's like they were trying to teach me about mind control, about your mind control, right? Not mind control of others. So it's like they were having me put my hand in something that was with a candle at the bottom. It was like this mud thing, and the candle was at the bottom, and I was supposed to not be burned or something like that. And at first I went out and took my hand out, and they're like, "You failed," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it again." And all of a sudden I couldn't feel it. Like that. Like it's one of those dreams where you're living it, so it feels like it's almost like you're in another dimension. That's what it was. And yeah, but obviously I'm putting two and two together. When you go to places like these that are so energetical, you're always going to grab something, or something's always going to kind of like go with you if there's something they have to show you or teach you or haunt you. I mean, it really depends on what kind of energy you have at the same time. Thank you, Costas. Where did the confidence you have grown into come from? I don't know. I think just throughout the years. First, look at yourself naked in the mirror, get used to yourself. Then wear clothing with cleavage. Then more and more until you just come out naked, and then try nudism and you'll be fine. Yeah, it definitely helps with the confidence, because it's like once you're naked, you're not hiding anything. So why should you hide anything else about you, like your personality or the way you think or anything like that? I think our bodies are one of those big blockages, right? Where we're so concerned on how to make them perfect that makes you kind of blinded towards everything else. Yeah, thank you. That's some scary dreams. No, well, I liked my dream. He wasn't so happy with his dream. Enrique didn't dream anything at all. Enrique's like, he just doesn't absorb anything anywhere. Thank you, David. Love your shirt and earrings. Bueno, entonces les cuento sobre el convento. Este convento de la era franciscana, ¿se dice? ¿O franciscana? Franciscana. Claro, sí, pero no sabía cómo se decía la palabra. Franciscana. Hicieron como unos 6 conventos, aparentemente, si no me acuerdo mal. Hicimos la entrevista, si sale bien luego se la vamos a subir para que la vean, porque es una historia muy interesante. Nos llevaron bueno, era el lugar donde preparaban a los frailes, ¿no? Los monjes de ese entonces. Muy, muy, muy interesante escuchar cómo vivían, cómo era totalmente prohibido tener contacto con mujeres. Tenían clases de mujeres y hombres y así todo. O sea, las mujeres que les cocinaban la comida y todo tenían que pasar platos a través de unas maderas donde no tenían contacto ni visual, porque siempre decían, es para prevenir, es para prevenir. Oh, I gotta tell you how they lived with women. Like, they couldn't have any contact with women. James, I'll read you in a second. Thanks. Yeah, guys, tell me your stories if you've ever visited one of those haunted places or really old place and you felt like you carried something with you. Y era muy interesante escuchar, bueno, los baños, vimos los baños. Todo lo van a poder ver. Si salió bien. Creo que sí salió bien la grabación. Pero bueno, para hacer la historia corta, para no contarles lo que dicen en el video. En el momento que entras al lugar hay una parte que es una capilla, que hoy en día se hacen misas ahí. Una vez al mes viene el cura a hacer misa, ¿pueden creerlo? Una vez al mes. A ese pueblito donde no va nadie. O sea que sí, para las familias que están ahí, porque si no creo que tienen que cerrar la iglesia o algo así. Entonces el ex convento guarda todos los libros de esa época, de los 1600 era, ¿no? No, sí. ¿Te acordás si era 1600? No, bueno, creo que era alrededor de ahí. Y un libro estaba particularmente todo guardado como en un recipiente, a ver, con un bloc de vidrio, un atril, y dicen, este libro habla de todos los tipos de amor que existen. Yo me quedé como que, tengo ganas de leer ese libro. Y digo, ¿cómo no los sacan? ¿Cómo no los hacen digitales? Porque, a ver, acuérdense que todos estos movimientos, específicamente los de los monjes y meditadores, fueron erradicados del planeta porque la gente les tenía miedo, y más que nada los políticos o los gobernadores, las personas que querían tener control y el poder, les tenían miedo. Entonces los hicieron desaparecer, los mataron. Bueno, de ahí se fueron porque invadieron los españoles y bueno, obviamente también mataron, muchos fueron para otros lados, otros hasta otros que vivían en zonas de ahí como los indios se suicidaron, o sea, hay muchos que se quitaban la vida, no sé si monjes, no creo que monjes, pero sí locales, que se quitaban la vida antes de estar bajo las manos de los españoles, ¿no? Y ser sus esclavos. Así que bueno, es increíble, es increíble cómo sí, una lástima en verdad, porque ellos realmente pues saben la realidad de la vida y la energía y todo. Entonces, viendo esos libros era como que, ¿por qué no los digitalizan? Claro, nadie se ha tomado el tiempo, quizás algún día llegará alguien que capte esa información y la ponga en algo digital, porque estoy segura de que ahí no hay nada que, mm, que refuerce lo que son las iglesias hoy en día. Estoy segura. Bueno, después vino el catolicismo, cristianismo y todo eso, ¿no? Por supuesto. Pero bueno, chicos, no se olviden de que estamos en vivo. Si quieren suscribirse a miamitvhd.com, tenemos un seminario con energía positiva al desnudo después de terminar este programa, como siempre. Y muchos videos, más de 3000 videos on demand que pueden ver sobre todas nuestras aventuras. ¿Eh? Ah, la tirolesa también hicimos tirolesa al desnudo. No sé por qué no me llamé para hacer el Guinness. Tirolesa y subir un puente en desnudo fue muy interesante. ¿Qué más? En las grutas también hicimos un photoshoot. Bueno, y terminando la historia del convento, resulta de que al salir de ahí nos dice Miguel, que es un amigo y el camarógrafo nuestro, que en su brazo tenía como unas bolas que se le habían formado, porque contaron la historia, no la dije en inglés, no, en español, ¿no? La historia del demonio. No, contaron la historia de un demonio que en aquel entonces como que asustaba a toda la gente del pueblo. Entonces, el demonio supuestamente vivía en el río. Cada vez que los poblanos iban al río a buscar agua para sus animales o para sus plantas, alguien moría o algún desastre pasaba, alguna tragedia. Entonces, los monjes hicieron un ritual, nos mostraron el cuarto de exorcismos, donde hacían exorcismos a la gente. Habían exorcistas, por supuesto. Es la manipulación de energías, al fin y al cabo, ¿no? Y contaron de que exorcizaron el río y atraparon a ese demonio en una estatua que hicieron de Miguel Arcángel con como una lanza y luego una cuerda que ataba de la mano de Miguel Arcángel al demonio el cuello. Entonces dijeron al pueblo, nunca dejen, estamos hablando porque hablamos con gente de pueblo que nació ahí, ¿okay? Entonces, y conocen las historias de todas sus generaciones. Y dice que les dijeron que nunca desaten al demonio, porque en el momento que desaten esa cuerda, aunque no lo agarre físicamente, sino más metafóricamente, con un tema de rito, se puede soltar el demonio. Entonces pasaron muchos años, quizás décadas, y de repente, bueno, vino un turista estúpido, de hecho pasó 2 veces, donde dijeron, yo no creo en estas cosas. Y ¡fua! Le sacan la cuerda. Inmediatamente dice que las cosas en el pueblo empezaron a ponerse mal, especialmente en el río, murieron personas. Y la persona que se fue, ambas ocasiones murieron personas, no solo una vez, o sea, ya no son coincidencias. Y en ambas ocasiones las personas tenían pesadillas terribles y ambas recibieron el mismo mensaje, que supuestamente era el demonio, no creo, pero bueno, donde les decía de que tiene que amendar lo que había hecho y tiene que devolver y poner las cosas como estaban, ¿no? Él mismo. Y que uno dijo, pues si no duermo de noche, duermo de día. Tampoco podía dormir de día. Recibió el mensaje, los dos volvieron, los dos ataron la cuerda. Ya está, no pasó nunca más, todo volvió a la normalidad. Desde entonces pusieron esa estatua en una vitrina para que ningún otro turista estúpido vaya y le saque la cadena. Sí, porque que no sea real para ti no significa que no sea real para las personas de ahí, entonces hay que respetarlo. Pero yo les digo que sí, totalmente eso puede suceder. No sé qué tan seguro estará el demonio ahí después de que pues rompieron un rito, ¿no? Eso sí está difícil, yo creo que tendrían que hacer todo un exorcismo de nuevo, pero parece que sí, todo se calmó, todo se calmó. Y sí, hay energías que se pueden meter en cosas físicas, absolutamente. Normalmente son malas, o sea, de que, bueno, capaz que alguien malo puede meter un alma buena en algo físico, puede ser para atraparte. Nunca he escuchado, pero todo es posible. Bueno, chicos, fun fan, thank you. YouTube's most beautiful hosts, Mayans and Aztecs. Yeah, no, it wasn't Mayans or Aztecs. It was the Chichin something with sure. No, en este lugar no estaban los mayas ni los aztecas, o sí, no, eran más que nada los Chinchinchunchos, algo, no sé el nombre, la verdad. Que justo Miguel nos dijo, yo tengo descendencia de esa línea indígena. I visited Allstair Crowley's house. Definitely dark energy around that place. Burned down around 2000. Yikes. Oh yeah, burn. Especially if people died inside. It's like you can still feel the spirits, right? The souls. Dice, yo visité el Alistair Crowley's Casa Vieja. Wow, definitivamente una energía muy profunda en ese lugar. Se quemó en el año 2000. Imagínate también si personas murieron en el lugar. Eso es una muerte muy sufrida, entonces las almas sí o sí quedan suspendidas. Y es muy difícil que alguien realmente como que vaya o le interese liberar esas almas. Así que normalmente lo que sienten cuando sienten temor, ese tipo de miedo, es cuando hay almas suspendidas, poseídas por negatividad, pobrecitas. Bienvenido, Cristiano. That sucks. So how do they know about love then if they can't even see a woman? They would only see them at mass, but they can't have any contact. I think it's, you know what I believe because I have 35 meditators that I work with, okay? And they're some of the few that lived that whole crazy, horrible era of massacre of them. They're not the only ones in the world. There's many groups of meditators that still exist in the world because even if there was one left that fled somewhere, he taught the rest. But they don't like people talking about them because of this, because governments or people that are in charge, they fear them. They fear that they make changes in the world, and that's power. So they're afraid of another power, especially if it's a power that doesn't go along with their, let's say, like evil plans, right, of conquering and mastering everyone. Anyway, so I think that what happens with them is that since they don't activate their chi sexually, they master the mind. So I think what they do is they channel that strength of energy and use it to elevate themselves through the mind and through the voice and vibrations. So instead of working their energy from the genitals, right, which is what basically everybody does, they can work the energy through their throats. That's why we did such a long YouTube and Miami TV video of the throat chakra, right, and oral sex. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's really interesting, I think, at least. And I think that through the vibration that they get to do with the sounds, right, they're able to create that energy. So it's a choice, you know, and there's people that that are just made for that. If that's their mission, they will find it, and they've a lot of them found it. So I think that's how. Now, if you ask me about religion or priests, they have no. I don't think a priest knows what love is, honestly. And they talk to you about the love of God. It's like, okay, yep. Got it. And then you see all those atrocious things that happen. So yes, of course, because of that censorship of that sexual energy, you have some that go the dark way and end up raping kids. So yeah, this is real. Even I think in clergies, like the ones that we were talking about, Enrique said, damn, I saw in a picture like one or two that had really degenerated faces. So there's rape that happened here. And I'm like, and he's like, it doesn't mean all of them, but yeah, just like in priests, same thing. I mean, you can only be so blunt to believe, right, that if they're being cut off from that sexual energy, that something's going to take over, and in some cases they're too weak and they give into that, right? It's unfortunate, but it happens. So yeah, I think just keep your kids away from, I don't know, people that don't have relationships, maybe. That'll be a safer thing to do. All right, guys. Hey, Vincent. Welcome, Superfan. Besos desde Jalisco. Hola, ¿cómo estamos? Bienvenidos. Dice, hola de nuevo, Jenny, me alegra que estés de vuelta y nos cuentes de tu viaje. México tiene muchos lugares hermosos con historias interesantes. Saludos desde Veracruz. Saludos, Adela, muchas gracias. Eres un facilitador valiente y no hipócrita. Gracias. Voy a tomar eso como un complemento. Te conozco desde hace unos 10 años. Wow, si eres un super fan, gracias. San Agustín and Casadena are cool spots in Florida. Casadeja has a vortex there, and many mediums live there. Really? Okay, so it's definitely going to be in my line of visiting places. Where is, oh, it's in Florida, so I could go now. So we're going to Florida in October, of course, for Fantasy Fest. If you guys are going to be around there, say hello. We'll also do that live streaming like we always do for our members in Miami TV, so don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, dicen, hay un lugar que es un vortex y es un lugar donde viven muchos mediums en la Florida, Estados Unidos. Dice, se llama San Agustín y Casadena. Dicen, Casadena tiene un vortex y hay muchos mediums que viven ahí. Bueno, gracias por contarme. Pues vamos a ir nuevamente a Miami ahora en octubre, así que para los que quieran ver, tenemos la transmisión en vivo de Fantasy Fest. Fantasy Fest, uno de los festivales más divertidos, tan liberales, tan libres, que bueno, siempre salimos en vivo de ahí 2 días. Y si están por ahí, salúdennos. Así que capaz que podemos hacer una parada, ¿no? En visitar San Agustín, el lugar de los mediums. Me gustaría, para ver cómo está la energía. Estábamos hablando un poquito sobre... Saludos, Raúl. Bueno, de hecho ya se nos fue la hora, ¿no? Ya no hablamos más. Jenny, cállate, no hables más. ¿Sí? ¿Qué me faltó entonces de los monjes? Nada, que sí, que todavía existen, hay muchos, pero todos están... Porque me preguntaron, ¿cómo puede un monje saber del amor? ¿Cómo pueden haber escrito del amor? Todo estaba escrito en latín, ¿no? Yo tengo mi punto de vista, mi opinión, porque trabajamos nosotros personalmente con 35 meditadores. No les gusta que hablemos de ellos porque, como saben, en el 2013, así como en la época de estos frailes, hubieron masacres de ellos, cientos. En el 2013 específicamente, más de 300 de ellos fueron acribillados. Los que trabajan con nosotros específicamente son unos que se escaparon, que salieron de al lado de la mano del Dalai Lama. Por eso yo siempre cuando la gente habla del Dalai Lama, yo no favorecemos a esa figura pública, ya es una figura más política que religiosa, o no religiosa, perdón, espiritual. Así que siempre les decimos, ¿no? Que tengan, saludos Eduardo, que tengan cuidado, que muchas veces los mensajes positivos pueden ser mensajes positivos, pero detrás hay todo algo oculto, ¿no? Que no corresponde. Entonces, bueno, hay muchos meditadores en el mundo todavía, no tanto como antes, pero todos están en lugares que no puedes llegar a ellos, específicamente por esto, ¿no? Porque serían acribillados, serían perseguidos. Perdón, perseguidos por los gobiernos porque les tienen miedo porque tienen un poder. ¿Y por qué qué sabe un monje o un meditador del amor? Mi respuesta es de que como tienen puro ese canal, ¿ok? Tienen la capacidad de poder manipular esa energía hacia su mente y largar esa vibración y energía a través de sus vocales. Por eso hacen el famoso Om, ¿no? Y es muy potente. Entonces, al no desperdiciar esa energía y hacer abstinencia, ¿ok? La utilizan agarrados de las manos para fines benéficos, para fines de paz. No sé qué fue eso. Así que bueno, ahí estamos, amigos. Nos quedamos entonces, seguimos mañana. ¿Hoy qué día es? Miércoles, sí, mañana y el viernes. No se olviden de suscribirse en miamitvhd.com. Ha sido un placer hablar con ustedes, les contaremos un poquito más. Tenemos nuestro seminario ahora de energía positiva, completamente al natural. Como saben, yo hago mis seminarios al desnudos. Y si quieren seguirme también en Twitter, es @energyjenny. All right, guys, we'll see you now for members only in our Positive Energy Seminar for members in Miami TV. Don't forget to subscribe, MiamiTVHD.com, and check us out on Rocco as well, Miami TV. See you tomorrow. Big kisses. Love you. Saludos, soy de Mexicali. Bienvenido. Me volví miembro porque me encantas. Gracias, Vicente. Te estoy mirando desde Francia. Gracias, fan. All right, guys. Continuing on. Have an amazing evening. Thanks for watching. And yes, our naked reports. Bye, guys.